So for number 9, before we do this question, we're going to solve a similar question, and based off of inductive reasoning, we'll come up with a nice shortcut. So if we had this, we wanted a factor, well, they don't have anything in common. Now, if there was an x term, we could do some other method here. So let's put in the x term, 4x squared plus 0x, which is just nothing, minus 9. Since there's a coefficient here greater than 1, we just sort of slide and divide. So again, we're going to get ready for a normal factoring here of one trinomial to two binomials. So know there's going to be x times x, and this negative means the signs are going to be different, so we get to sing this cool song. But we're not going to take just the factors of 9. Since there's a 4 here, we're going to multiply 4 times 9, which is 36. And what are the factors of 36 that get you to 0? The only way to do that is a perfect square, which just happens to be. So 6 times 6. Well, if they're the same, we don't get to sing the song, but we can sing anyway. The bigger number wants to be like B. Positive. All right, well, anyways, and it's like, we're done. But again, this is called the slide and divide. So that dividing is, well, since we multiplied by 4 to get 36, we have to divide by 4, just like taking out a loan. We got to pay it back. So divide both of these by 4, simplify. Again, this isn't real. This is almost like a trick within itself, but it's a nice trick. A really long trick. And again, if you have numbers here, or fractions, that denominator just comes with the coefficient. Remember, you can't really do this in math except for this one time. And you end up with this thing, 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. It's like, that's a lot of work, right? But look what we started with. And see if you can find the trick. Well, if you notice that this is a perfect square, the square root of that is just 2x. And the square root of 9 is just 3. And look at that. That just happens to be ours, just except one's positive, one's negative. So the rule is, if you have two monomials, two numbers here that are both perfect squares, to factor, and it's minus, because this is going to be called the difference of squares. Since you have a square here and a square here, and you can take the difference, we just square root each one. So we say, what times what is 196x squared, which is just 13x, and what times what is 100 is just 10. So those are going to be your two numbers here. So we're going to have 1b plus, and we're going to have 1b minus. Forgot the x, and there you go. So that is the easiest way to factor. This is called difference of squares. Again, just look for it, and it'll save you a lot of time. And just to make sure, you say 13 times 10 would be negative 130. 10 times 13 would be a positive 130x, and that would cancel out. And that's why there's no term here. But anyways, there it is. Good luck.